We do have a special session now. It's really a special one. This is a brief session on social entrepreneurship, which will be headed by Mr. Paul Kronenberg and Ms. Sabriye Tenberken, who are the founders of Kanthari. Let's welcome them onto the dais with a big round of applause.
Okay, yeah, that works, right? Okay, you saw they put a little carpet here. That's for my orientation, that I don't make any chaos with the beautiful decoration here. And I have another thing, technology. We're all talking about technology. This is, by the way, this is a Braille computer. You see it? This Braille computer is telling me the time so that I'm not going overtime. So I've started now. Okay. Now, the problem is I'm always getting carried away when I talk about Kerala and when I talk about social entrepreneurship. And these are the topics that we want to address. And I would like to start where we stopped yesterday at the panel. I felt that the future that was painted was pretty rosy, right? I felt quite good. I felt that we had quite a positive outlook on life. And, well, this morning I switched on BBC, and guess what? My whole positivism went down the drain. Coronavirus is spreading everywhere. War still in Syria. There's a lot of problems, environmental problems, climate change was addressed again. I'm not so sure if we can fix all that just with technology and just with the right aptitude and with some nerds who are doing the right thing. I do believe that we need social change makers as well. I do believe that we need, amongst these social change makers, social entrepreneurs. And I really, really hope that amongst these Keralites who are sitting here, that there are some who are focused and interested in using entrepreneurship, using business as a mean to do something good in this world. Now, I also remember the very, very strong sentence that Vijayaraghavan said: we need more governance, better governance. We need better leaders. And I do feel he's so right when I'm thinking of the whole world. We need leaders who are looking in this world from a responsible perspective, from a perspective that we do have a future and that we do have a world to give away to our kids. We need leaders who have empathy. We need leaders who look beyond their own interest. We need leaders who can connect the dots and are not just caught up in details. And we need education that creates these leaders. And this is something that we heard today, but sorry, we don't need only engineers. We need maybe engineers who also have philosophy in their colleges, who also have other subjects like sociology, psychology, to really understand how to connect technology to the social problems that we have in the world and that we need to solve in this world. Now, we want to talk about today about social change, about social entrepreneurship, and about why is Kerala the best place in the world to be. Now, that's very nice, because then I know where you're sitting, actually. So, now, I want to go back to Germany, my home country. And in Germany, we have a phrase, when there are kids who are asking a lot of questions and who are a little bit critical and who don't believe everything the adults say, you know what the adults are telling them? Ach, geh dahin, wo der Pfeffer wächst. Anyone speaks German here? It means go where the pepper grows. Yeah? It actually means go far, far away, go out of my sight, leave me alone. And that's where I am right now. So people wished me here to be, where the pepper grows, right? And what a beautiful place this is. Now, we decided to go to Trivandrum, to go to Kerala, to have this as our first choice, to start a global leadership training center for social change makers, for people who can connect the dots, for people who don't always have to be everybody's darling, and therefore we called it Kanthari, the spice of Kerala. And this is what we want to do. We want to spread the spice of Kerala. And of course, for everyone who knows the Kanthari, it's a chili. Yeah? It's a plant that grows wild in the backyards of Kerala. It's very, very small, but very spicy. It has medicinal values. It can lower the blood pressure, which is kind of handy when we come to problem solving. It is a taste maker, of course. It's a change maker. It purifies your blood. It makes you very, very alert. And it's actually the perfect symbol for someone who has fire in the belly and who has the guts and the spice to challenge the status quo and to ask critical questions, to connect the dots, and not just to talk, but also to do something meaningful. And this is why we are here. We are working with leaders from the margins, from the backyards of society. Just like the Kanthari grows in the backyards of Kerala, we are working with leaders from the backyards of society that are usually marginalized, that had a pinching point, that had something serious that they had overcome, that know the problem inside out, that have not studied the problem just in the college, but actually experienced the problem from the roots up. And we are working with them to create social change makers and social entrepreneurs out of these people. People who use their mindset, who use their creativity, and who use their braveness and intelligence to actually make a very, very good difference in this world. Now, people are coming from all around the world, from so far 48 different countries. Many are coming from India, many also from Kerala, by the way. And so far from 220 graduates that we produced, that we had spread out in the world from 220 Kantharis, we have more than 130 projects, social ventures, impact-making social ventures up and running, and they are reaching more than 50,000 beneficiaries so far. And these are all produced here, right in Kerala. So you can see, Kerala can be seen as a hub or as an incubator for people who might think differently, who can create a change. And by the way, creating a change is not always about being nice and saying yes. It's sometimes, just like the little chili, a little bit of spice, which might hurt, but it's a healthy spice. It's a spice that is not loved by everyone, but it is something that makes definitely a difference. Now, why do they make a difference? Because we teach them concept transformation. And I want to do this with you later, in the end of my speech. I want to transform the concept of Kerala with you. But I want to tell you, first of all, what is actually concept transformation? Concept transformation, I want to try to give you one example. You see, I am blind. You might think this is a limitation, a disability. And yes, I thought so too. I thought blindness is equal to isolation, discrimination, and darkness. That was my understanding of blindness, right? Now, yes, I did experience blindness as discrimination and isolation, I must say, but I could get myself out of it. But then I had this inner drive to change something and to put things upside down, to transform the concept. It was kind of a survival instinct that I had to transform the concept of blindness into a beauty of blindness. So what is actually beautiful about being blind? Normally little kids, blind kids, they know it immediately. They say, wow, I remember everything. I can remember all the different numbers, all the different telephone numbers. Yeah, and I thought, I can focus. I'm not distracted by Hollywood and Bollywood anymore. When I became blind, I realized that my communication skills became much, much better because I had to communicate and I had to be clear. I could not just use my hands all the time. When I became blind, I realized because I had to solve problems from morning to evening, my own problems, because I was the only one who was blind in my surrounding, I became a problem solver. And not only for my own problems, but also for problems of other people as well. And when I became blind, I understood that I had better imagination. And how beautiful it is to have a good imagination. You know, you see, you visualize the non-obvious. By the way, something that we all need to visualize the future, because the future is unseen. So for blind people, this is actually the job that we have, to see the future right in front of us, because we can imagine it. Now, when I understood that imagination is one thing that I could do much, much better than before, I said, let darkness come. I'm waiting for it. It's okay. I can be in darkness. You know what? The world surrounding me became much, much more colorful because I could imagine everything in my own colors, in my own pictures.
So we came to Kanthari, or to Kerala, to start Kanthari. And our campus, you can see it on the screen, is located on the Valiani lakeside. We built the campus in a cost-effective way, and it was chosen as the second greenest campus in India in 2013. I was not happy, and people said, you're not happy because you're not the number one. And I said, no, if this is the second greenest campus in India, then we have a long way to go. So we're sharing what we built with a lot of architect students, and we asked them to copy. There's no copyright, but there's a right to copy, and we asked them, please, please copy. So what do we do at Kanthari? We train social change makers in everything they need to know so they can run and start and run their own organizations in a very solid way. They have to have all their legal in place, their accounts, their websites, their branding, their message, fundraising, accounting, everything that they need to run, well, similarly like a company. The only difference is they are not in it for the money, they're in it for social impact. Let's have a look at what people are doing.
In a world that sometimes looks increasingly bleak, you might wonder if positive social change is even possible. Since 2009, on the banks of the Valiani Lake in Kerala, Kanthari has trained visionaries from the margins of society, resulting in over 130 social initiatives in 41 countries. Initiatives that are positively impacting the lives of thousands of beneficiaries. Jane Waithera has been leading the fight against the senseless killing of people with albinism in East Africa. Ojok, an activist from Uganda who was tortured and blinded when he was just 9 years old, is now creating a paradigm shift in how blind people are perceived, empowering them as beekeepers and environmentalists. Karthikeyan from Pondicherry started Srishti Village, a self-sustaining eco-village where mentally challenged people find meaning in their lives by sharing responsibilities with the rest of the community. Abhijit Sinha, an engineering graduate from Mumbai, is taking a radical approach to learning by establishing schools without teachers. Srishti Casey, a dancer from Nepal who lost her sight in her teenage years, started Blind Rocks. She travels around the world holding one-of-a-kind workshops for the blind in adventure, dance, theatre and fashion.
These are a few examples. These are a few examples of people that we work with. We have people that are changing the world. I want to give you an example of one person that is very special. His name is Anumutu. Anumutu is from Pondicherry. When he was 5 years old, he lost his father. And Anumutu became a child laborer for 6 years. After these 6 years that were terrible, when he was 11, he was picked up by an NGO and he was trained. And he became a photographer and a graphic designer. He lost his heart to the homeless in Pondicherry. Several of them died in his arms, and there was nobody to help them bury them. When he came to us, because we want to work with people that are part of the target group, we said, you've never been homeless. You were poor, but you were never homeless, so how do you approach them? And he said, you know what? I'll go on the street. Let me try this out. He warned the police not to arrest him for 3 days, and this was during Oki, right? The storm, the cyclone, 3 years ago. He went on the street on Friday morning he went actually, and he was fierce, young, brave man. He had his hair grown, he had him some rags, he didn't take any money. And 3 days later, he came back a broken man. So what happened? He was sitting and he shared his story. He said, I've never been so hungry, so cold, and so thirsty. But that was not a problem. The problem was that I became invisible. 3,000 people on average walked through that railway station per hour, and nobody saw me. That's an issue. And this is something we do. We look away, and we all do it. So there's a bigger problem, and this is also with technology, because these beautiful pieces of technology look away for us, because they only display what it is that we like. So we feel there is a big disconnect between, the digital world, the virtual beauty, and the reality. And that connect has to be brought back. So luckily there's good news, because all of us here can do quite a lot. And you don't have to travel all the way around the world to do something. It starts right here. One very important part is, and yesterday it was mentioned, the environment needs to be taken care of. Nobody can make money on a dead planet. So one thing we can start with, and that's a good thing, is the lake. Cleaning our water bodies, cleaning the rivers, the lakes, because without water, no life. So this is unfortunately, the dramatic, this is just one example, and this is right next door of us, so we see this every day. You see the green patches, in 2014, 15%, 2020, 45%, that's Lake Veliani, and this is what it looks like. That's not a lake, that is an ocean of, it's plants, and there's more. So we need help, and all of you can help to get this cleaned up, because we need to save not just this lake, we need to save every water body in Kerala, in India, in the world, if we want to move forward. I think so we are doing this on a daily basis. We're nearly in the lake and trying to get the plants out. What is very important for us is that the change comes from within. Before in the session it was said that you don't hire people because of their skill sets, but because of motivation. We have a very simple saying. It says, if I have to becomes I want to. That's where the magic begins. If I ask people what they do, they have two answers. I have to go to work, I have to go to school. And that's terrible. If it is I want to, that's where the change is starting. So now you might have one question, because we're both not from Kerala. So why did we come here? Let Sabriye transform some concept.
Yeah, I promised you to transform the concept of Kerala, right? Now, a lot of people, they told us, why do you go to Kerala? Yeah, why do you go to the backyards of India? Why don't you start your leadership training center in Mumbai or Delhi? And actually, Keralites, they were not much more encouraging. They say, I don't want to come down to Trivandrum. And we said, what do you mean, down? It's just a matter of perspective, perceptive. If you just turn the map upside down, Kerala is on the top. And how beautiful is it to come to the top? and to be part of a global vision incubator. This is what we try to explain to the people. Another thing is, when you look at Kerala's history, Kerala was always the gateway to India. It was always the trading, the international trading gate, where export was happening, where import was happening. And it's beautiful. Yeah? Look at the greenery. Look at all the things surrounding us. Now, when you look at all of this, and I tell you one more thing, just make a circle around Trivandrum, and you will see that Kerala is right in the middle of the world, center in the world. Center, because this circle holds a majority of the population in the world. And after all, the magnetic equator runs right away through Trivandrum. And what does that mean? What a symbol, right? That means we have the least gravity. We can make the biggest step in Kerala, right? Now, I learned also that a lot of Keralites don't dare to dream. A lot of Keralites love to be stuck in the problems. And this is a problem, because if we want to create a visual hub here in Kerala for thinkers, for proactive thinkers, we need dreamers. We need to turn dreaming around. Now, I try to request you, and this is my last sentence today, I try to beg you, Keralites, stand strong. When anyone tells you, oh man, I don't want to go down to Kerala, this is too far out, right? Stand strong and just say, Mulakal kadichal ningal kariyam valya oru vijasam undakan cheria oru Kanthari madi. Thank you very much.
Thank you so very much for that wonderful session, Paul and Sabriye. May I request you to stay back? And that was indeed a wonderful session. And now we do have a token of love and gratitude from our side, TRIMA. So may I request the co-chairman of TRIMA 2020, Sri C. Padmakumar, to present them with a memento. At first, may I request C. Padmakumar to present Mr. Paul Kronenberg with a memento. Also requesting Sri Basant Kumar, former Secretary of TMA, to present Ms. Sabriye Tenberken with a memento. Once again, thanking Mr. Paul and Ms. Sabriye for the wonderful session, who are the founders of an amazing organization called Kanthari. Thank you.